Sagittarius, if 2026 were a year with a name, I'd call it the year you update your operating system. Not an update like changing your wallpaper for fun, an update like changing the way you run your life from the inside out. Like before, you were running on inspiration, on the craving to explore, on that vibe of, if it feels right, I'm in. And this year, the universe still gives you vibe, still gives you opportunities, still gives you a wide sky. But it comes with one very grown-up question. What are you expanding? And how disciplined are you willing to be to keep it? Quick picture so it's easy to see. Sagittarius is the type who boots up and instantly has 27 tabs open, 3 projects, 2 hangouts, 1 trip, and still feels fine. You're not scared of a lot. You're scared of boring. You're scared of being squeezed into a mold you didn't choose. But 2026 isn't the year the universe makes you close all your tabs. The universe just makes you choose the main tab. And that main tab decides whether your whole year becomes going far without getting diluted, or busy but going nowhere. That's why I call 2026 an OS update. It doesn't turn you into someone else. It just makes you a more sovereign version of Sagittarius. Freer, but not drifting. More expansive, but not scattered. So if you ask, okay, what's in my new OS? I'll say it straight. Sagittarius OS 2026 has 3 modules running in parallel, like 3 background apps. Everyone matters. Miss one, and your year starts lagging. Module 1. Doors opening. 2026 is a year of open doors. You'll feel opportunities arrive more naturally. The right people show up more unexpectedly. Ideas jump into your head like, wait, how did I not think of this sooner? And that feeling is so Sagittarius. Life feels bigger, and you want to sprint straight into it. But here's what's different about 2026 compared to Sagittarius's usual expansion mode. In past years, you expanded for experience. This year, you expand for positioning. Meaning, you don't just want to do things to know them, you want to do things to become someone. You don't just want to go for fun, you want to go to find the right road. You'll feel strongly pulled toward things that can level you up an entire tier, a new environment, a new role, a new project, a new community, or a new you used to only dare to imagine. This door's opening energy feels so good. But it comes with a very Sagittarius trap. Opening too much? Because you see a door open, and you want to run through all of them. And yes, running through all of them is fun. But after the fun, you're tired. And after you're tired, you fall into that state of, I did so much. Why doesn't it feel satisfying? So Module 1 installs 1 line of code, selective opening. If it matches your main axis, open it. If it's just a temporary thrill, you can look and keep walking. Module 2, Discipline. The word discipline makes Sagittarius instantly step back. Because you're afraid of being tied down. You're afraid of losing freedom. But honestly, 2026 isn't trying to make you dry. It's just making you learn how to turn freedom into something that lasts. Discipline here doesn't mean do more. It means do it better. It means package it. Sagittarius is often strongest at the launch. When an idea hits, you fly. You start fast. You spark people. But sometimes you miss the packaging, the concrete plan, the steady rhythm, the small system that holds what you've built. And without packaging, everything becomes fireworks. Beautiful, bright, wow, then gone. Deal, on. In 2026, the universe wants you to turn fireworks into long-term light. Meaning you still get to explode. But after you explode, you know how to put it into a frame so it keeps running. And the best part is, when you have a frame, you don't lose freedom. You get more freedom. Because you don't have to rebuild from zero every time. You don't have to live on luck and vibes. You have a system that catches you. Sagittarius with even a light system, just a few habits, a few principles, a few tools for managing energy. You'll fly insanely far. 2026 is the year you learn this, through real experience, not just advice. Module 3. Plot twists. This is the part that makes Sagittarius both excited and irritated. Excited because life has drama, surprise, story. Irritated because you hate being forced into reacting. You hate the feeling of, I thought it was this, but it wasn't. But 2026 will bring a few turns. Maybe you change teams, change roles, change how you work, change environments, or change your entire rhythm of life. Some things you thought were solid suddenly shift. Some things you thought would never arrive suddenly do. And then Sagittarius OS1 usually reacts in two extremes. Either you jump immediately because it's new, or you cling because you're scared of being wrong. Sagittarius OS 2026 wants you to install a third reflex. Pause for one beat, then ask, where is this turn trying to recalibrate me? Plot twists aren't here to break you. They're like GPS. You turn differently, it doesn't yell, it just recalculates. It reroutes you to a truer destination. But for it to route you correctly, you have to know what your destination is. That's why Module 1 and Module 2 matter. You choose an axis, you have a frame. When the plot twist comes, you don't panic. You just change tactics. Here's what I want you to hear closely. 2026 is not the year to move really fast. 2026 is the year to move really right. And right, for Sagittarius, isn't right by anyone else in there. It's right by the new values you're growing into. So what are those new values? I see Sagittarius, in 2026, starting to change how you define success. Before, success for you often meant going far. Far in experiences, far in position, far in freedom, far in reputation, far in income. And you can go far. But this year, a more mature question shows up. What's the point of going far if I don't feel like I belong anywhere? That question isn't here to make you sad. It's here to bring you back to the truth. You need a kind of success with roots. Something you can build, keep, repeat without getting bored. A stable rhythm that still stays open. This is when Sagittarius upgrades from freedom means no one controls me to freedom means I have the competence to choose. You don't want to escape everything anymore. You want to build something that's yours. And the moment you start wanting to build, you automatically need discipline. Not because anyone forces you, because you want it. In other words, Sagittarius, OS 2026, is the OS of selective expansion. You expand to become someone. You discipline yourself to keep the results. You accept plot twists as a recalibration mechanism. Now I'll give you a quick install for this OS in real life, so you know what to do immediately, instead of drifting on emotion. Install 1. Choose one main axis for the year. Just one sentence. For example, this year I become more professional in my field. Or, this year, I build a stable financial base. Or, this year, I create a project that's mine. Or this year I clean up my environment and live by my new values. One sentence. Doesn't have to be pretty. It has to be true. Install 2. Set a main tab rule. The main tab rule is, when an opportunity shows up, you ask, does this serve my main axis? If yes, open it. If no, you can save it for later. Sagittarius doesn't lack opportunities. You lack a filter, so opportunities don't become noise. Install 3. Create a minimal discipline frame. Not a packed schedule. Not forcing yourself. Just a few things that keep you steady. For example, a work frame, a body care habit, a money rule, a real rest day, a weekly time to review. These sound small, but they're your anti-lag system. Install 4. The 24-hour rule for plot twists. When there's a big change, big invitation, big decision, give yourself 24 hours before reacting. Sagittarius reacts fast, but too fast means choosing on adrenaline. 24 hours helps you hear clearly. Am I choosing this because it's aligned, or because it's exciting for a moment? And for the OS to run smoother, there are 2 vibe checkpoints in the year I want you to pin like a reminder in your head. One checkpoint early in the year, Times when you can feel both pressured and foggy, pulled between responsibility and emotion. On days like that, don't make wild decisions. Use them to look honestly. What am I forcing myself for? And where do I need to reroute for something more sustainable? And another checkpoint in late July. A really beautiful vibe for creativity, healing, love, for doing something that's so you, without forcing it. Like you're doing it, and it feels light, but still deep. Just remember, mid-year is when the new OS stabilizes. You start seeing clearly who you're becoming. Okay, I'll close chunk 1 with a very Sagittarius line, but 2026 edition. This year, you don't need to run to prove anything. You just need to choose right, then go deep. Yeah. And right after this, in chunk 2, I'll talk about the next system, steering. Meaning when plot twists happen, when life recalibrates, when you feel like you want to change, jump, disappear, or act on impulse. We'll turn plot twists into a launchpad, not a hole that throws you off rhythm. Right? Sagittarius, in chunk 2, we're talking about the steering system, how you handle plot twists in 2026. Honestly, Sagittarius is the sign where the more surprising life gets, the more you're both into it and irritated. Into it, because there's something new, that feeling of life is still wide. Irritated because you hate being forced into reacting, you hate the feeling of, I thought it was this, but it turned out it wasn't. And 2026 will bring a few turns like that. But the key is, plot twists this year aren't here to break you. They're here to correct you. Like GPS. You turn a different way. It doesn't yell, it just recalculates. It reroutes you to a truer destination. The only real question is, do you panic? Do you react impulsively? Or do you steer like an adult? Let me say it up front. 2026 doesn't need Sagittarius to be stable like someone else. It just needs you to update your reflex when life turns. Because Sagittarius's old reflex usually swings between two extremes. Extreme 1. Jump immediately. If it's new, you love it. If there's an opening, you go. If it has vibe, you trust it. And sometimes, jumping immediately is actually right. You hit it. But a lot of times, jumping immediately means you fly off axis. And you only realize after you land, wait, why am I here? Extreme 2. Cling tight. When things feel unstable, you cling to what's familiar because you're afraid of being wrong. You talk yourself into, it's fine, I'll stay. But if you cling too long, you suffocate, you get bored, and then you... The steering system of 2026 gives you a third reflex. Pause for one beat, ask the right question, then steer with strategy. It sounds simple, but it's what upgrades you. Now let me tell you what plot twists in 2026 usually look like, so you can recognize them before you spiral. First, work plot twists. Like you're doing fine, and suddenly there's an offer to change teams, change roles, change the project's goal, or you assumed you'd stay, and suddenly there's an external offer. Or you thought you were going this way, and suddenly the project is canceled, budget shifts, people shift. This is the life recalibrates your career kind of twist. Second, relationship plot twist. Someone suddenly comes closer, someone suddenly pulls away. A relationship you thought would last suddenly reveals a problem. A relationship you thought meant nothing suddenly becomes important. This is the life recalibrates your circle kind of twist. Third, inner plot twists. This one is invisible to other people, but Sagittarius feels it the most. Suddenly you're not excited by the old thing. Suddenly it feels flat. Suddenly you don't want to run the same way anymore. You think you lost your fire, but really, you're changing fuel. And changing fuel is always uncomfortable, because the new isn't clear yet, and the old is already boring. Okay, recognition done. Now here's what steering like an adult looks like. Sagittarius steering system, 2026, has 3 steps, like 3 OS buttons. Every time life turns, you press them in order, and things get clear. Step 1. Pause, stop for one beat. Sagittarius reflexes are fast. But 2026 teaches you, fast isn't always right. You don't have to decide immediately. You needed to pause so you don't choose on adrenaline. Pause for 20 minutes if that's all you can do. 24 hours is even better. And here's the line I want you to say to yourself when life turns. I don't need to react. Reacting is impulse. Responding is intention. The moment Sagittarius switches from reacting to responding, you get instantly stronger. Step 2. Recalibrate, reset the compass. The compass is your main axis. I'm repeating the main tab from chunk 1. If you don't know your axis, plot twists can't become a launchpad. So here you ask 3 questions. Question 1. Does this turn move me closer to my main axis? If yes, it's not an accident, it's an upgrade. Question 2. Do I want to choose this because it's aligned or because it's fun? If you choose fun, but lose your axis, you'll end the year tired and regretful. If you choose alignment, even if it scares you, you grow. Question 3. If I don't quit, if I just change tactics, what's the smallest next step? Sagittarius tends to think big moves are the only satisfying moves. But often, the correct turn is one small step. Change how you work, change your schedule, change who you collaborate with, change what you prioritize. Step 3. Commit. Lock in one small measurable action. This is what turns plot twists into results. Because many people see the problem and then leave it there, overthink, get drained. Sagittarius is especially likely to think too much when you're at a crossroads. So, step 3 is choose one small concrete action you can do within 72 hours. For example, if the twist is a new offer, a small action could be writing 3 criteria, calling someone you trust for perspective, or building a negotiation checklist. If the twist is a relationship mismatch, the small action is saying one clear sentence: what do I need to feel okay in this connection? If the twist is you feeling bored with your career, the small action is testing a new direction with a 7-day mini project. So you see, steering doesn't need to be loud. Steering needs to be clear and fast in the right way. Now I want to talk about something very real in 2026. There will be days when you feel both pressured and foggy. Like responsibility is heavy, but your mind wants to escape into daydreams. On days like that, Sagittarius tends to do 2 things: argue with life or disappear. And both will throw you off rhythm. In the steering system, foggy pressured days are days you shouldn't make big decisions. You should do small things. Things you can control. Clean up your system. Close what needs closing. Speak clearly. Drink water. Don't sleep. It sounds basic, but it grounds you. And when you're grounded, you can see the road. And one more thing, plot twists in 2026 will test Sagittarius's freedom. You'll have to tell the difference between, do I want freedom or do I want to run away? Freedom means you leave to grow. Running away means you leave to avoid. They're completely different, but in the beginning they feel identical. Both feel like, I need to get out of what's making me uncomfortable. So every time you want to disappear, ask, do I need rest to recover, or am I avoiding a conversation? If it's recovery, rest is your right. But if it's avoidance, the correct steering is that you return to the conversation with someone else or with yourself, then you move. Okay, I'll close chunk 2 with a mantra so you remember it. Plot twists don't break me. Plot twists correct me. No. And steering right means you don't react on impulse. You pause, recalibrate, then commit to one small step. In chunk 3, we'll move into the next system, communication. This one is crucial for Sagittarius 2026, because you can have amazing opportunities and great love, but one frequency mismatch in communication can slide the whole mood off. I'll show you how to speak so things get done, how to close so people stay, and how to keep your freedom without making others feel abandoned. Sagittarius, chunk 3 is the communication system. It sounds normal, but it's actually what decides whether your 2026 runs smooth or lags. Because you can have a strong new OS, you can know how to steer, but if communication goes off frequency, everything still slips. Slips. Work slips, love slips, friendships slip, and then you end up thinking, wait, how is it that I didn't do anything wrong, but everything keeps getting misunderstood? Truth is, Sagittarius isn't wrong. You're just too fast. You speak fast, think fast, react fast, and you have a kind of straightness that's kind. You think being direct is being sincere. You hate going in circles. You hate fate. You like truth. You like clarity. But life in 2026 makes you learn one slightly uncomfortable truth. Sincerity without technique becomes damage. Not because you're mean. Just because your speed is a race car, and other people's speed is sometimes a motorbike. You turn once and you assume everyone got it? But they haven't even read the sign. And that's how the signal gets crossed. This year, Sagittarius's communication system helps you do 3 things. Speak so things get done, speak so people stay, and speak so you keep your freedom without making others feel abandoned. I'll break this into 3 layers, like 3 levels. Level 1, clear. Speak clearly. Sagittarius has an open way of talking, ideas, direction, vibe. You're great at inspiring. You're great at making people feel life is bigger. But too open becomes vague. And 2026 is a year where vagueness costs you. Because you're expanding. More expansion means more need for clarity. So what does clear mean? It means you learn a simple structure, context, what I want, what I need. For example, at work, the goal of this task is A, I suggest we do B, and I need your support on C before D. Just one sentence like that saves an entire team from confusion. Same in real life. Instead of whatever you say, I want to see you, but I need a 1-day heads up. Instead of forget it, you say, I'm a bit tense, I need 30 minutes to calm down, then we continue. Same meaning, totally different vibe. It doesn't make you less free. It makes you more grown. And here's a Sagittarius trap. You avoid being clear because you think it kills the fun. You think clarity is too serious, too tense. But 2026 teaches you, clarity doesn't kill fun, clarity kills confusion. And confusion is what kills fun. Level 2, timing. A lot of misunderstandings aren't about content, they're about timing. Sagittarius likes to shoot as soon as an idea arrives. You think it, you say it. You feel it, you say it. But the other person isn't ready, or the context isn't right, and your sentence becomes fuel. So 2026 teaches you an extremely valuable skill, delaying reaction. Not delaying to avoid, delaying to choose timing. I suggest the 20-minute rule. When you feel your heart hot, your head hot, and you want to say something real, pause 20 minutes. Drink water, wash your face, change space. After 20 minutes, ask, what's my goal? Do I want to solve this, or do I want to win? If you want to solve, you'll choose a different way to speak. If you want to win, you might drop a sentence that makes the other person silent, but kills the relationship. Sagittarius, 2026, doesn't need to win arguments. Sagittarius, 2026, needs to win the long game. Second rule, 24 hours for big decisions. When there's an offer drama, change a "this sounds too good" invitation. Give yourself 24 hours before you answer. You don't need to say I'll think for a week. Just say, let me get back to you tomorrow. That one sentence is enough to stop adrenaline decisions, and enough to make people respect you. Level 3, boundaries. Speak to set boundaries. This is the most mature level. Sagittarius gets misunderstood here. You're friendly, wide, easy to laugh, so people assume you're always okay. And you also let things slide to avoid hassle. But letting things slide too much turns into swallowing yourself. Then when you're overloaded, you blow up or you disappear. And when you disappear, people say, Sagittarius always vanishes. But really, you vanish because you didn't set boundaries early. So 2026 makes you learn to say no beautifully. Not harsh. Not cold. Just clear. I can't take on more work this week. I'm at capacity. I'm not comfortable with that tone. I want us to speak respectfully. These don't make you difficult. They make you sovereign. And boundaries aren't only for other people. They're for you, too. Sagittarius overpromises. You say yes a lot, you take a lot, you believe you can handle it. Then when you're tired, you blame yourself. This year, setting boundaries with yourself means don't open 27 tabs. Don't promise before you check your energy. Don't accept just because you fear missing out. Okay, here's a communication hack that's perfect for Sagittarius 2026 for both work and love. It's called 10%. Speak 10% slower. Speak 10% clearer. Go. Ask 10% more before you conclude. Just that, and you avoid an entire forest of misunderstanding. And misunderstandings are what drain Sagittarius the most, because you feel innocent but still get read wrong. Now I'll give you 3 ready-made lines you can copy-paste into life, because Sagittarius needs templates to avoid slipping. Line 1, when you don't want to answer immediately. Let me check my schedule and think it through. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Line 2, when you feel the frequency mismatch. I want to understand correctly, do you mean? Line 3, when you need a boundary. I want to help, but I need to keep a yeah as a limit, and I can do B. C. Still kind, still open, still Sagittarius, just clearer and more mature. And one last thing, communication isn't only words. It's the energy you carry. In 2026, the more aligned you are with your main axis, the steadier you get, the less you'll need to talk a lot to convince anyone. The right people will just get it. The right opportunities will just open. You'll feel less like you have to prove, less like you have to explain. I'll close chunk 3 with one sentence. This year you don't need to speak more. You just need to speak more right. And right here means right for the goal. Solving, connecting, and keeping yourself. In chunk 4, we'll move into the next system, attraction relationships, who you draw in during 2026, how you filter connections, and how you build bonds that are fun and lasting, not the kind that arrive fast and exhaust you fast. I'll make the attract the right people vibe of Sagittarius this year crystal clear, and how you avoid getting pulled into connections that are exciting but have no future. Sagittarius, chunk 4 is the attraction relationship system. And honestly, this is the system you love the most and also fall into traps with the most. Because Sagittarius has a very natural pull. You don't have to try to make people feel like life is bigger. Your energy is basically an invitation. Wanna go? Wanna live? Wanna try? And that vibe makes you easily attract people, opportunities, and even relationships that feel hot the moment they enter. But 2026 is the year you no longer need to attract more. You need to attract right. And even more than that, you need to know how to keep the right people without losing yourself. Here's a slightly painful truth. Many Sagittariuses don't lack people who like them. Sagittarius lacks people who can walk at the right rhythm. You can have a ton of connections, but how many of them actually nourish you? How many people can be around you without you performing? How many connections make you feel lighter, instead of pulling you into drama, stimulation, and then exhaustion? 2026 pushes you into a more mature kind of love and social life. You start seeing the difference between attraction and compatibility. These two are completely different. Attraction is when you meet someone and your heart gets hot, your mind flies, everything feels like a story. Compatibility is when you stay around them longer, and you're still yourself, still moving forward, still at peace. Attraction is fire. Compatibility is a heater. Fire flares, bright, intense, addictive, But without control, it burns the house down. A heater is warm, steady lasting, it carries you through winter. Sagittarius is often addicted to fire, because fire makes you feel alive. But 2026 teaches you, being alive isn't only about burning. Being alive is knowing warmth. So how does the attraction system work this year? 3 layers: the pull, the filter, and the keep. Layer 1. Pull. Who do you attract in 2026? This year, you'll attract 2 types of people. Type 1. People who wake you up. They might inspire you, open doors, show you a version of yourself you can become. They make you want to learn, build, leap. Why? They can show up in work, in communities, or in love. They're like a knock on the door. Hey, do you want to live bigger? Type 2. People who anchor you. They may not be as flashy as you, but they're steady, solid, consistent. Around them, you don't feel like you have to run. You can breathe. These people teach Sagittarius the most important lesson of 2026: freedom with structure. You still fly, but you have somewhere to return. And the interesting part, in 2026, you'll start finding steadiness more attractive than you expect. Before, steady might have felt boring. This year, steady is sexy. Steady is mature attraction. But remember, attracting isn't the same as keeping. Attraction opens the door. Keeping is the skill. Layer 2. Filter. Who do you naturally cut out in 2026? This is the part that can make Sagittarius feel a little sad, and then suddenly, actually lighter. 2026 is a year you filter your environment. And filtering isn't about hating people, cutting people off dramatically. It's more like, you naturally stop fitting. You naturally stop tolerating. You naturally stop wanting to force it. You'll tolerate shallow conversations less. You'll tolerate relationships where you have to perform less. You'll tolerate people who drag you into drama, comparison, negativity less. Because 2026 is a year you need energy for your main axis, so anything that drains you reveals itself. The hard part is, Sagittarius is sweet, so you let things slide. You don't want people to feel hurt. You're afraid you'll seem cold. But honestly, you can't live other people's lives, and you also can't carry the emotions of the whole world. 2026 teaches you how to exit connections that don't fit anymore with kindness. And kindness here means not disappearing without a word. It means speaking clearly. It means setting boundaries. It means keeping respect without self-sacrifice. There's one clear sign a relationship belongs in the filter. After you meet them, do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you feel more yourself, or do you have to perform? Do you move forward or get pulled down? Sagittarius 2026 should filter with the body. The body doesn't lie. The mind can argue, but the body is radar. Layer 3. Keep. How do you keep the right people without losing freedom? This is Sagittarius' biggest love test. You need freedom. But the person beside you also needs safety. And Sagittarius often gets misunderstood here. You love sincerely, but you're not always good at showing presence. You can care, but stay quiet. You can miss someone, but not text. You can love, but disappear because you're busy or you need space. In 2026, if you want to keep the right people, you need to learn a new language. The language of clarity and presence. You don't need to report every hour. But you do need to let them feel, wherever I go, I come back. You don't need to sacrifice freedom. But you do need to say, my freedom looks like this, and my love looks like that. When you're clear, the right person understands. The wrong person leaves. And that's a good thing. Here's a very Sagittarius formula to keep a bond without suffocating. 70-20-10. 70% is living your life, goals, work, growth, experiences. 20% is intentional connection, quality dates, deep talks, building shared plans. 10% is small, sweet surprises, a text, a tiny gift, the right compliment, I thought of you. Sagittarius doing just that 10% makes people stop feeling abandoned, because they can feel you're there, even while you still fly. Now let's talk about a very 2026 trap. Strong attraction or easy idealization. Your intuition is sharp this year, so you'll feel who's right fast. But because of that, you can also project a beautiful story onto someone just because they have vibe. You see them as special, you decide their fate, when really they're a lesson. Don't be sad, everyone has been there. So the golden rule of the 2026 attraction system is, love with your heart, check with your brain. Checking with your brain means, watch actions, not words. Watch consistency, not emotional peaks. Watch how they treat you when it's not fun, not only when it's fun. Watch whether they respect your boundaries, keep promises, stand with you when it's hard. That's compatibility. And if you're single, 2026 doesn't necessarily mean you must have a partner. 2026 is a year you can meet the right person, but more importantly, you meet the right version of yourself. Your standards rise. You stop craving stimulating, but shallow connections. You start wanting a relationship where you're both happy and growing. That's the sign you've updated. If you're partnered, 2026 is a year to upgrade the relationship through clarity. Clarity about schedules, money plans, how you handle conflict. Sagittarius often likes, "we'll see," but this year, "we'll see" can create anxiety. You need a few small agreements, so love doesn't drift by mood. Okay, I'll close chunk 4 with one short sentence. This year you don't need to be attractive to many people. You just need to be attractive to the right people. And the right people are the ones who make you feel less like you have to prove, less like you have to perform, and still respect your sky. In chunk 5, we'll go into the next system, career decisions, but in a concrete way. How you pick your axis, how you expand without getting diluted, how you negotiate without getting drained, and how you turn 26 into a real value jump year. Not just another environment change for fun. Well, hey, Sagittarius, chunk 5 is the career decision system, and I'll be real, if you do this right, 2026 becomes a year where your value visibly shifts. Not value like bragging, value like you walk into a meeting, a project, a new environment, and people see you differently. You feel different. And most importantly, you stop running on anxious vibes and start running on a strategy that's light enough to live and solid enough to win. Sagittarius is built for expansion. But expansion, without a core, becomes dilution. And 2026 is the year the universe offers you big openings and also forces one extremely closing question. Who do you want to become in your profession? Not what do you want to do, but who do you want to become? Those are very different. What you do can change. Who you become is positioning. Brand, deal. The thing that makes opportunities come to you. Here's the image. Your career in 2026 is like standing in an international airport. So many flights, so many destinations, but you only have 1 year. You can't board them all. If you try, you'll live inside the airport. Always transferring, always dragging luggage, always busy, but nowhere becomes your land. So the career system begins with a very ordinary but crucial thing, choosing an axis. An axis is the rail of the year. You can have many side things, but the rail should be one. For example, your axis might be moving into leadership, lead manager. Becoming a top-tier specialist, elite at one area. Switching fields with strategy, building a personal brand. Or building a project, second income stream. Just one. And I'll say it again. The axis doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be clear enough to filter. Sagittarius doesn't lack opportunities. Sagittarius lacks a filter. 2026 gives you chances, but it also gives you a knowing how to say no test. Now I'll break down the 3 types of opportunities Sagittarius meets in 2026 so you can sort them. Type 1, fun and new opportunities. They're attractive, vibey, make you feel alive. but they don't necessarily move you toward your axis. These can pull you off track because they hit your dopamine. Type 2. Right but slightly scary opportunities. Like a higher role, more responsibility, new skills required, or an environment where you need to be more serious. These are usually what truly change your value. They're not always instantly fun, but they open an entire new level. Type 3. Good on paper, but drains your blood opportunities. Good money, good title, but toxic culture, insane schedule, or you're placed in a position where you must grind, nonstop. It looks like a win outside, but it wears you down inside. Your mission in 2026 is, learn to recognize Type 2, and choose it often enough. Not all of them, but enough to level up. To do that, you need a decision frame, a quick 30-second check to know whether to take it or leave it. Here's a 4-question frame that's perfect for Sagittarius. 1. Does this serve my main axis? If not, save it for later. 2. Does this raise my value? Skills, network, position. Nay. If it's only fun and doesn't raise value, be careful. 3. Is this sustainable? Would I still want this in 6 months? Wait a minute. Sagittarius gets pulled by month. 1. This system asks you about month 6. 4. Does this respect my energy? If you can already feel it demands you sacrifice health, life rhythm, boundaries, think very carefully. Okay, opportunity sorting done. Now let's talk about something huge for Sagittarius 2026. Negotiation 20. Sagittarius sometimes works well, but negotiates like, whatever. You think as long as you get to do it, as long as it's fun. Or you feel awkward talking about money, boundaries. But 2026 won't let you be awkward anymore. Because the more you expand, the more you need negotiation so you don't burn out. Negotiation isn't only salary. Negotiation is a clear role, clear scope, clear KPIs, clear time, clear evaluation. Negotiation is protecting energy. And the best part is, when you learn to negotiate, you automatically get less work drama. Because a lot of drama comes from vagueness. I thought it was this, but it wasn't. So don't be afraid to be clear up front. Clarity is a sign of professionalism, not difficulty. Here are 3 negotiation lines that are Gen Z, but still professional. I want to do this well, so I need a clear scope. What's on me, and what isn't? Ensure quality. I want us aligned on expectations, what results you want and by when. I can take it, but I need condition and to ensure performance. You say it like that, and you're confident without being rude. And system-minded people respect you more. Now the real value shift, upgrading one sharp skill. Sagittarius learns fast, but can scatter across too many things. 2026 wants you to choose one value-changing skill. A skill that, if you become truly strong at it, opportunities rise, salary rises, position rises. It can be land leadership and analysis, building systems, communication, negotiation, writing, pitching, or the hard skill of your field. Pick one and train it like the gym, steady, planned, measurable. If you train like that in the first half of the year, the second half of the year feels so good. I also want to remind you of Sagittarius's overpromise trap in career. You accept because you think you can handle it. You like being trusted. You like being given big work. But if you take too much, you don't just get tired. You reduce quality. And quality drop is what lowers your value fastest, even if you're hardworking. So the career decision system has one survival rule: quality over quantity. And fewer projects, but each one leaves a mark. Okay, I'll close chunk 5 with a short recap you can remember. Sagittarius 2026 is the year of selective expansion. You choose one main axis. You filter opportunities with 4 questions. You negotiate to protect energy. You upgrade one value-changing skill. And you say no often enough to keep the right yes. In Chunk 6, we'll go into the final system, the 4 seasons of action. After Chunk 6, you can literally open your calendar and live 2026 on rhythm. 1. Sagittarius. Chunk 6 is the 4 seasons of action system. This part is like you holding a full 2026 calendar, while I draw main rhythms so you don't drift. Because Sagittarius can easily get led by mood. When you're on, you fly. When you're off, you vanish. But 2026 is a year you want expansion with results, so you need a rhythm that's open but still structured. The 4 seasons are that light structure. I'll tell 2026 as 4 chapters. Season 1 builds the foundation. Season 2 accelerates with strategy. Season 3 breaks through and recalibrates. Season 4 packages and levels up. Each season gets the vibe, the goal, what to avoid, and a reminder line to pull you back. Okay, let's go. Season 1, January to March. Build the foundation and choose the road. Season 1 feels like you just booted a new OS. The machine runs fast. Your mind is bright, you feel, I can do this year. But Season 1 is also the easiest time to open 27 tabs. The vibe is clarity and minimalism. Sounds opposite to Sagittarius, but this is the key. Because Season 1 isn't for speed. Season 1 is for choosing your axis. The goals are only 3 things. Goal 1. Lock in one main axis for the year. 1 sentence. Not pretty, true. This axis filters opportunities, projects, even people. Goal 2. Build a minimal frame for life, like a work rhythm, sleep, body care, and 1 real rest day. Sagittarius without a health base starts overthinking, then acting impulsively, then breaking rhythm. Goal 3. Clear distractions. Clear tabs. Clear your schedule. Clear the commitments you accepted because you didn't want to say no. The cleaner Season 1 is, the easier Season 2 feels. What to avoid? Promising too much. Sagittarius promises because you're excited. You think, I can do it. But too much promise becomes pressure by February. Season 1 reminder, choose less, but choose deep. Season 2, April to June. Strategic acceleration. Train the skill that changes your value. In Season 2, life starts to settle into rhythm. This is the season where steady work wins. And for Sagittarius, steady sounds like punishment, but it's actually your weapon. The vibe is light discipline, steady progress. Not rigid discipline, system discipline. You know what you're doing today, what matters this week, what you're building this month. The goals are 3 points. Few. Upgrade 1, sharp skill that changes your value. Pick 1, I do one. Train like the gym. Plan it. Measure it. Get feedback. If you raise this in the first half of the year, the second half feels amazing. 2. Start putting yourself into the light. Don't be great and silent. 2026 is a year you need to package value. Portfolio, case studies, profile, posts, pitch deck, how you tell your achievements. Not showing off, making it clear. 3. Start negotiating and setting boundaries at work. Clear scope, clear KPIs, clear time. Clear words, reduce chaos. The more clear you are in Season 2, the less drama you deal with in Season 3. What to avoid? Getting bored because it's steady. Sagittarius can get bored when things stabilize. But remember, Season 2, stability is what makes Season 3 breakthroughs possible. Don't break your own foundation just because you crave novelty. Season 2 reminder. Be steady now so you can explode later. Season 3, July to September. Turning point. Breakthrough, change how you do things, change how you live. This is the climax season. Season 3 is where plot twists are most likely. But it's also where you're brightest, most magnetic, and most capable of turning the right way. The vibe is courage and flexibility. You'll feel a need to break the old format. You'll look back and think, I can't do it the old way anymore. And that's your cue to steer. The goals are 3 things. 1. Adare. Choose one clear breakthrough. One big project, one career step, one environment change, one product idea you bring into the world. Don't break through by scattering. Break through by committing. 2. Adjust your life rhythm. Season 3 can burn you out because too much happens at once. So you keep the base frame from seasons 1 and 2. Sleep, food, rest, boundaries. Without base, you break through and then crash. 3. Filter your relationship circle. Season 3 reveals who can walk with you and who only shows up when things are fun. And you learn to choose the right rhythm. What to avoid? Impulsiveness. Season 3 is full of temptation, invitations, emotions. Sagittarius gets impulsive and flies off axis. Remember the 24-hour rule. Big decisions get 24 hours. Season 3 reminder. Change to be more right, not to escape. Season 4, October to December. Package. Close the cycle, level up. Season 4 speeds up. You'll see what you planted early in the year start to pay off. This is harvest season. And if Sagittarius harvests right, the end of the year feels so satisfying. Because you see real progress, real results, real maturity. The vibe is controlled acceleration. You'll want to do a lot, close a lot, take the whole end of year. But the trap is wanting too much. Too much turns into a packed calendar, hot head, hot heart, tired body. The goals are 3 points. 1. Close 2, 3 most important things. Close them clean, close them solid. Let the rest roll into 2027. Gone. This is your anti-FOMO lesson. 1. Package your results. Summarize projects, skills, finances, relationships. Packaging means turning what you did into a story. In 2026, who'd I become? 3. Clear the path for next year. Season 4 isn't only harvest, it's laying ground so 2027 starts smooth, not panic. What to avoid? Trying to close everything so you won't regret it. The more you try to close everything, the more regret you create, because you get tired and quality drops. Close less, but close beautifully. Season 4 reminder. Close less, close clean, close lasting. Okay, here's the 4-season story in one short line. Season 1. Choose the axis, build the foundation. Season 2. Train the skill, accelerate with a system. Season 3. Breakthrough, steer, filter people. Season 4. Harvest, package, level up. And if you ask, how do I know I'm on the right rhythm? You're on rhythm when you're still free, but less confused. You're still expanding, but not diluted. You still get plot twists, but they don't drag you. You have a light system to return to. You have the right people to walk with. You feel yourself growing, not just getting busier. I'll end chunk 6 with a universe whisper for Sagittarius 2026. This year you don't need to run faster. You just need to run more right. And when you run right, you'll naturally go far. I